Good morning. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our first Facebook live chat with an expert session. We'll be hosting these sessions every Tuesday for the months of May and June to discuss some of the common concerns caregivers are experiencing through this pandemic. My name is Padma, and I'm a learning specialist with the Alzheimer Society of Calgary. Today, I'm extremely pleased to have with me Dr. Pearson, Clinical Associate Professor of Neurology. Dr. Pearson is very well known in the dementia circles and one of the highly top-rated neurologists in Alberta. She's currently working at the Alberta Neurologic Center. So we are planning to spend about 20 to 30 minutes on caregiver concerns. We invite you to ask questions for Dr. Pearson in the comment section of this video, and Dr. Pearson will answer them as we proceed. Considering the public nature of Facebook, of this platform, we request you to avoid personal questions and also to keep your questions general. I would also like to remind you that this session is not to be considered as a substitute for a medical consult. So first of all, Dr. Pearson, welcome to the chat.
Thank you.
Let us begin with the topic of how to help a person living with dementia who does not want to stay home and does not understand why they have to stay home during this time. Hello? Dr. Pearson?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you hear my question?
Yes, now I hear.
Oh, okay. There's some lag, I guess.
It's a lag. I got it though. I got the whole thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
I welcome all questions about this, and not because I'm some kind of expert at this particular question, but in fact, I think the carers are actually the experts because it takes a lot of thought to decide or plan activities in a way to prevent the feeling that a person is being told no, or that we can't go anywhere, or no one can come and see you. The whole point of this is to avoid as much as possible having to say, no, we can't. No, you can't. Don't you remember there is this virus? Those words after a while fall very flat, and they create wear and tear on both the carer and the patient. So if I were to start with a general recommendation, it would be to think about things to fill the day, or at least part of the day. An example that I found over the weekend, now this speaks a lot to how easy it is to entertain me, but I love animals, and I found a connection to the San Diego Zoo, a live camp, and I could watch them feeding the penguins, or, at certain times you can tune in and see a lot of activity. And it was quite fun. If there's a person in your life who could really used to be a birder or loves animals, that would be something that could fill, a little bit of time and just be distracting. That's just one small example. It kept me busy for quite a while, but then again, that speaks more to me than to anything else. Going out in the car without a clear destination, or going to a drive-through where you can get a coffee or ice cream or something. The trick is to have other things in the day. It doesn't mean you have to fill every absolute minute of the day, because most likely not all minutes were filled with activity before the pandemic. The goal is to try to not emphasize the more negative aspects of the pandemic. So if they ask, oh, I haven't seen, why isn't so-and-so coming? Um, you can gently remind them, but then redirect or have another activity. And it doesn't have to be a major thing.
Mm-hmm.
Something like a live cam, or even you can Google now sites like that, live cams, sites
Right.
with group games, that
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I think that for me, the bottom line is to the carers, you are the experts.
Mm-hmm.
I learn from you. You know your family member the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know their interests, their loves, things that might keep their attention for even 15, 30 minutes or longer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can build on that. You just, I think now with the pandemic, you are required to more or less have a whole bunch of things in your back pocket um,
Right.
to plan in order to get through the day and avoid those words, no, we can't, no, you can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't forget the virus.
Yeah, great. That's wonderful, because there are lots of, as you said, there are lots of resources out there uh, which we can use to engage the person living with dementia. And even, getting out to the backyard along with with the person, and then engaging in an activity there, because it's now the spring season, and maybe cleaning up the yard together. So there are some things that you could do to kind of understand that the person is feeling bored, and engage the person in a very useful way, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to ask you another question.
Mhm.
The person might be wondering about why nobody is visiting. Maybe, there were extended family members who used to visit at this time. And the person might be wondering why nobody is visiting, and why can't we go out? And why nobody's coming here to visit with us? So what do you suggest? What can caregivers do? How can they respond to that in an appropriate manner?
Uh, so I think there's no way to uh, sugarcoat
Mm-hmm.
or pretend. Uh, I would in answering the question emphasize that it's not their choice,
Mm-hmm.
that we all are under this recommendation. I think that's fair. I think being honest and explaining that the goal is to not have to dwell on that,
Mm-hmm.
over and over again. And there's where redirecting comes in.
Yeah.
But I think answering about, we are now um, required, and this applies to everyone, and so can't come here until the government says it's okay, or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think most people understand these sort of the grand they with a
Mm-hmm.
capital T, Um, I, and it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but tagging on to that answer can be a suggestion. How about we, do this, or how
Yeah.
about let's do that.
Yeah.
And if they're hurt by it or sad, it's okay to be sad and
Mm-hmm.
be with them through it. And um, I must admit, when this first all started, I was very, very hesitant about Skype and the virtual thing,
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure. A lot of my patients enjoyed having a face and a voice in the
Mm-hmm.
room.
Right.
Wasn't, really, where was it coming from? I thought it might stir up other problems, but in fact, of course, unlike me, most of my patients already Skype and with family members. So having a built-in time when you can do that with the people that are
Mm-hmm.
not able to visit is ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That's a great answer. And I was thinking that maybe they could do something like, also, they could also do something like pulling out a photo album of that person, or even having a Facebook, like a FaceTime chat with
That's
a
right.
person who is planning to visit and who is not able to visit. So even though they are not able to touch them or sit close to them, they are actually just like how I can see you now and I can talk to you now. It would give the same kind of experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could also be a good way, I imagine. I'm just trying to look for some questions here, but I cannot, for some reason, I cannot see any questions. So I do not know whether it's because nobody has added any question yet, or I'm not able to see the screen, because this is the first time I'm doing it. I know, like a Zoom chat, just like you said, the Zoom was something new for us,
Yes.
but we got onto it very quickly. But then from Zoom to Facebook is again a new step in the learning process.
I
And I am not able to see the chats at this time. I'm not able to see any questions. So I'm hoping that I see that there are about 9 people who are, and 10 people who are attending now. So gradually, maybe we might have more questions. So I want to share with you a concern I received from a caregiver last week. Her father lives in a care home, and around 60, 65 years old, living with dementia, with vascular dementia. And usually she used to go to her dad, visit with her dad every day, and help out with giving him a shave and all that. And the mom also would go and help. Together they would give him a shower or a bath, whatever he likes. But now, since the COVID, they have not been able to do that. And so she was telling that her dad never got a chance to get used to the staff in the care home. And now that when they are approaching for doing all these providing personal care, all the tasks, he is refusing, and sometimes getting so agitated, not knowing where his family is, why they are not visiting. And also to the point that they had to kind of think of putting him on a medication to reduce the agitation. So what would you suggest in such a situation? What could the caregiver do when they are not able to visit, but they still want to support the person living with dementia as best as they can? What would you suggest, Dr. Pearson?
I had not. That's an interesting
Yeah.
um, situation for me to be
Mhm.
aware of also, because you, of course, we applaud families that are in touch every day and actually
Mhm.
help out with things that the person with dementia might have more difficulty doing a shower or bath with someone that
Mhm.
he doesn't know. So,
Yeah.
that's a terrific thing. I didn't think about what happens when that comes to an abrupt end. And that's a real challenge. Um,
Mhm.
uh, be, Before medication, I guess what if this were coming to me about a patient of mine, I would I would seek um, some type of intervention that could
Mhm.
bridge
Yeah.
for the patient,
Mhm.
bridge the staff and the wife and daughter.
Yeah.
So, for example, this is probably hoping for a lot, but if in some way the facility could set up just a FaceTime
Mhm.
with the daughter and with his daughter and wife
Yeah.
and whoever the carer is going to be, who
Yeah.
comes in and says, it introduces them and
Mhm.
says, Dad, it's just so important to have a shower. And right now,
Mhm.
um, we have a virus and the government will not let us be close together for good reason, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But some visual link like that as a
Mhm.
trial,
Yes.
just to bridge that so that there's a connection in his mind between the family members
Yeah.
and the staff.
Mhm.
I know it may not always be the same staff member, but that I would love to be able to try that before having to medicate, his agitation, because we kind of know the reason he didn't have this problem before. Being
Yeah.
showered and helped by others, by
Yeah.
strangers, is a major
Hmm.
thing for
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
people. And
Absolutely.
so maybe that would have been my first thought, if it's at all possible. It puts
Mhm.
a lot of burden on the facility as well, but
That's true.
um, we I mean, I guess you could try it over the phone, but it's not the same. It's not the same where you
Yeah.
have on one screen your wife and daughter saying, "Oh, this is so and so, and we've worked with her. She's been there, or he's been there for blah blah blah, and he's got to help you with your shower net," something like that,
Right. Right. Yeah.
which is that's the ideal.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. I was suggesting to the caregiver that maybe to get more compliance or support from her dad for all these personal care tasks. I was suggesting to the daughter to maybe make a short video with the
Yes.
mom and daughter sitting and then speaking to the dad. Dad, I know that this is very hard for you. We are not able to come and help you with the shaving and with your shower and bath and all that. But it would be great if you could, as you mentioned, the name of that staff, if they know who is that staff,
Yes,
it would
that
be
would be
great if
great.
you could support the staff, and cooperate with her. That'd
Absolutely.
be great. And the thing is, having a video like that, the staff could replay it, right?
Yes,
On further occasions as well.
that's right.
So I thought that's what came to
I
my
think
mind.
that's
But I
great.
liked your idea a lot. That's great.
Well, I think that's really great. It's amazing to for me to think about using media as much as we are.
Yes.
The only hesitations I have are with people with types of dementia where there's a very large component of paranoia. So if
Mhm.
there's a huge paranoia component, there's a possibility
Yeah.
that say that patient would not believe that that was his, real daughter on the video, that type of thing. So
You're right.
I mean, I'm hoping that this person, that would not be the case, but there are, if the paranoia component is
Yes.
really strong,
Yeah.
it makes it difficult to use media where they think someone else is behind it.
That's
Um,
right. That's right. That's a good point. I never thought about that. But I'm thinking that maybe if they had a previous experience of, having these FaceTime chats,
yes,
then that would be, the person
exactly.
would be more receptive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Willing to
It,
accept
it
it as
has
a,
it has panned out to be,
yeah, yeah,
really positive. I have virtual chats with my patients for follow up, and some of them have, um, they're moderate to severe, and they're doing, quite well with that. So
right. Yeah.
it's great.
Thank you very much. I see another question here. Miranda has posted a question. What if using the explanation of COVID-19 for why I cannot visit creates anxiety for my person?
Mm, because the impression is everyone is going to disappear or get sick with it. That's a very good question. Uh,
Yeah,
I would tone it down in any way that you could. I do think honesty is always, it just flows more easily from us when we're trying to give truth, I think. But um, uh, I agree. If they are very anxious about it, they feel they're going to lose their family because of
right.
this.
Yeah,
Um, um, I would I would answer, but then move on as much as possible.
yeah. And
And
I'm thinking,
go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead, please.
No, no, you go.
Yeah, so I was thinking that even as I said at that time to using the technology, seeing that, it's not because I'm sick, I'm fine,
Yes,
but the care home is very particular that I should not bring any infection to you, that I should not be a cause in bringing any virus that I might have, need not be the COVID, but it could be any other virus I might be having, but I'm fine. As you see me, I'm okay. So having that FaceTime chat as well, so that the person living with dementia can see their family member, that would maybe help in reducing the anxiety that they are not going to disappear.
And you might do that more frequently than you would think
Yeah,
usually,
absolutely.
but you could even check in your mornings.
Yeah,
Check
yeah.
in, look, Dad, I'm fine, or Mom, look, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
we have to be cautious, but we're all fine. That type of thing. It
Yeah.
may not.
So I see another question from Lynn Cross. My husband has been going for approximately 6 walks a day. I cannot keep him in. What do I do? He was looking in our neighbor's window also.
Hmm.
That's a tough one.
What is he, well, um, what, why does he feel the need to leave? Or,
I do not see any other explanation on that. So
okay,
the question is,
okay,
he's been going approximately for 6 walks a day because I think he's tired of staying home probably. So
okay.
they're finding it difficult to keep him in. And so what could we do?
I think as much as possible, um, even though you may not want to take 6 walks a day, he probably should be walking with someone.
Yeah.
Just to modify anything else that may happen on the walk, just because he's impulsive or wants to look in this window or that window.
Right.
And this way, I'm hoping there can be more than one person that might walk with him, and maybe the walks will decrease from 6 to 4 if someone's walking with him.
Right.
Um,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
I,
And
I
I
think
think,
I think that's going to be important. That's a big demand. I realize, but I
yes,
think that is going to allow for modifying behavior without having to medicate behavior or have him get lost and the
right.
police have to bring him home and that kind of thing that we would like to
Yeah.
avoid. Uh,
And I'm thinking also about, coming up with, as you said earlier, having a variety of activities to do,
yeah,
so that he's
yeah,
not just bored so much. So if we can set up activities around the house, little tables with little things that he can do. And then, we heard from a caregiver who was doing that. So what she did was that she knows that her husband cannot be interested in an activity for a long time. So she had a variety of activities like, activity stations set up inside the house, so he can move from one to the other when he gets tired, and having a snack, his favorite snack, and the
yeah.
coffee, all that. So even though it's a little bit of what you call setting up for the day, but it was keeping that person active for a long time.
It is all about um, planning or thinking ahead more than we
Right.
would ever have had to
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
And having
past.
a variety of activities. And even if you're not setting up stations, if one doesn't go well, even asking the person to help with a household task, maybe sorting out the cutlery, or folding the laundry, things like that.
Mm.
I think those are things that household things that the caregiver would be doing anyways. Getting the other person involved would be a good idea, I guess.
I think at the risk of repeating myself again for even
Yeah.
this gentleman, we have to do everything we can to not allow enough time to be there when he again says, um, I'm leaving, I'm going out. No, you
Mm-hmm.
can't. You
Yeah,
just had a walk, whatever. We can't have enough lag time for that to happen. It's almost like you would just have to fill it with, whether it's activities, or I wish everyone loved puzzles and things as much as I did, but I've learned that if you didn't do it earlier, you're not going to all of a sudden love doing it now. So
right.
whatever it takes for an activity indoors or outdoors.
Yes.
But it's work. it's work. It's almost a new layer of work to
That's true.
be sure that there isn't enough time to have that keep coming up.
Yeah. That's so very true, Dr. Pearson. I appreciate that you understand that, that might
It's
be
so
adding
hard.
one more additional task for that person. But I'm also thinking that if they had something like a treadmill, something at
Oh,
home, so the
yes,
person could be walking, watching their favorite TV
absolutely.
show, or listening to their favorite music, and then getting some exercise there as well. So then that reduces the kind of urge to go outside because they are tiring themselves walking on the treadmill, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but not everyone might have that at home too.
Now,
Yeah.
music is another thing I failed to mention earlier. That's been it just keeps coming up in with when I speak with families
Hmm.
about their loved one with dementia.
Right.
Music is just so important. I saw a person recently who barely has any speech left, but boy, can she keep a beat. Um, Absolutely no problem keeping a beat, sings and dances.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So any music from their era, old movies from someone's era, or a
Hmm.
favorite topic that you know about, I would keep those. I would keep those, so to speak, in my back pocket and
Yeah.
pull them out. Oh, look, it's here. But you'll just have to have a ton of those until
That's
until
right.
this
That's right.
this
Yeah.
changes. It's yeah, it's not easy. And I'm hoping that carers have more than just themselves. That but I realize that with the restrictions, not everybody can come by in that way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Hmm.
if they can call or if they can FaceTime, if those folks can build that into their schedule so it's a regular thing, it will help the
Hmm.
home situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Some friends could call at that
Oh
time,
yeah,
several times during the day. They could take turns to call. And as you said, having that put in a like scheduled, then that it becomes, a regular activity for that person. And they'll be looking forward to that chat with the friend or the family member, I guess. And also for Lynn, I just would like to add that on our website, you will see lots of resources in terms of activities that you could do with the person, all virtual, traveling around the world, as Dr. Pearson was mentioning in the beginning, music concerts that you could attend
oh yeah.
virtually, and sightseeing. That was great. One website was showing that new places where you could travel virtually. So lots of programs available, yoga, exercise, lots of things available online. So I would definitely encourage Lynn to please check out our website, and please look out for all the COVID related resources on our website. Um, I do not see any other question here at this point of time, but I do have a question that I would like to ask. Um, Now, again, we talk about the COVID-19 restrictions and the stress that is causing the family and the person with dementia as well. The person could be even wanting to get out because, one thing to be aware of, I think, is not being too much exposed to all the COVID-19 news.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so reducing your screen time so that you are not watching the news is not there running all the waking hours of the day,
Yep.
but just try to, if you would like to follow the news, just once a day go to the Alberta Health Services website and you get an update, or there is an update from the district medical officer, right? There's a
Yes.
from the chief medical officer of Alberta. So she gives an update around 4:30, 3:30, 4:30, around that time. And maybe that's your very good, reliable source of information. And avoiding those kind of troubling talks or exposure to such kind of news would also be a good idea, I guess. What do you think about it,
I
Dr.
think that's
Pearson?
very, my observation is that Dr. Hinshaw's delivery
Yeah,
is clear, concise,
yeah,
and not anxiety producing. I
absolutely.
would say that most reporters or on the news media, it seems that they're trained to be excited or to make people anxious or to make it a big deal. That's just
right.
my observation.
Yeah.
And I would stay away from that. If I actually only get my information from Dr. Hinshaw at
Yeah.
this point,
Yeah.
because there's just so much fluff. And for people who are hearing snippets of things and not as easily able to unify it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and weed out all of the extra stuff, it's very, very anxiety producing. So
That's true.
yeah, having running news is not good.
Yeah.
I have an example. Um, Many people that I follow know that my parents are in Florida, where my sister lives, and my sister is the primary caregiver there with
Mhm.
some nursing help. They're in a condo there. I make a point of going every 3 months. Well, I'm overdue. And they're very much aware of that. They may not remember day-to-day events, but they are aware that I haven't been there.
Yeah.
And within a phone call with
Mhm.
mom for
Great. Yeah.
half hour, 40 minutes, she
Mhm.
probably asks me 3 or 4 times, why haven't you been here? When are you coming?
Great.
And I hear my sister in the background saying, "The virus, mom. Remember the virus." And then she'll say, "Oh yeah, that thing." And then
Yeah.
we'll go on, and then she'll ask again. She has, some
Yeah. Yeah.
probably vascular, but anyway, um, she uh, watches a bit more TV than my father, and my sister finds that she also reads the news going across the bottom. My sister will not now put on channels where the news is going across because she doesn't watch. She reads that.
Mhm.
And if there's I hate to say it, but if there's a nearby shooting or whatever, right?
Yeah.
She's just off off the charts with
Mm.
anxiety. Or if they're
Right.
giving the number of deaths
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
COVID in,
Mhm.
off the charts. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, just
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah, just to add to what you said, my mom is 93 years old, and she fortunately does not have any dementia at this point of time. But she was telling me that how anxious she becomes, how nervous she becomes listening to the news, watching the news on television, and she does not want to. So I was advising her over the weekend the same thing, just once. If you want to follow, just listen to the news once.
Yes,
It's not a good idea to keep tracking what's happening where because there is absolutely nothing that you can do.
nothing.
Even if you are aware of it, and if you are getting anxious because of that, the best thing to do is just minimize that, just once a day or once in a couple of days, just track it. That's all, because it will take time for the flat to curve to for the curve to flatten
Yeah,
and for this virus to go away. So even for people without dementia, it is so and it causes so much anxiety. So it is only natural that for someone with cognitive impairment, this can
oh,
be very hard, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So I do not see any more questions at this point of time, but I am taking this opportunity to thank you, Dr. Pearson, and I know how busy you are,
Ah,
but you are so willing and,
everyone.
to accept this invitation and to have this opportunity to talk to caregivers. We really appreciate having you in this chat, and I hope that we can have you on more occasions in the
Absolutely.
future. So I'll be contacting you
Oh,
again.
absolutely.
Yeah, based on your availability, we can make it work. But I want to thank you so much for joining us on this first, Facebook live chat with an expert. And I'm happy that we got you to do that. That is wonderful. So have a great day, the rest of the
You
day.
too.
And for everyone out there, I just want to say that. Thank you for joining us today. Um, and also, we have these sessions coming up again. And as I said earlier, we have next Tuesday, it's a chat, the same chat happening at the same time. with Dr. Dilpriya Mangat, and it's on another topic, how to help a person living with dementia who is not able to understand the instructions of social distancing and frequent hand washing. So that's something we'll be starting the next week's chat with. And again, please feel free to join in and ask questions. And please call to speak to a social worker one-on-one at 403-290-0110, or send us an email at info@alzheimercalgary.ca. And if you like this video, I would encourage you to please like and share the video, and follow the Alzheimer's Society of Calgary's Facebook page for more videos in the future. So that's all from us now. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.